Hidden behind steel doors lie the greatest stories the auto world forgot. From factory wars to near-death legends, this is Vaulted Wheels, unlocking the machines that built America.
Picture this. You're waiting at a red light on a busy downtown street. Cars are rushing by, people are on the sidewalks, and right next to you sits a perfectly ordinary-looking Volvo XC90 SUV. But what if I told you you are actually standing next to a military-grade bunker, a vehicle specifically engineered to survive the kind of explosive, high-stakes violence most of us only ever see in action movies? In today's Explainer, we are deconstructing the hidden world of extreme automotive security and uncovering the unbelievable engineering that transforms a standard luxury vehicle into an invisible, rolling fortress.
It really presents a fascinating paradox, doesn't it? What actually makes a family SUV bulletproof? How in the world do you take a vehicle that is celebrated for quiet school runs and plush Scandinavian luxury and re-engineer it to withstand targeted, military-grade assaults? Want to find out? We have to strip away the supple leather and the pristine paint job and look directly at the raw physics of survival. And it all starts with a staggeringly heavy number, 4,490. That is the final weight in kilograms of Volvo's heavy armored XC90 moving down the road. We are talking about nearly 10,000 pounds of mass. Just to put that into perspective, that is roughly double the weight of a standard SUV. This isn't just a car anymore. It's practically a kinetic missile on wheels, completely redesigned from the ground up to carry an astonishing amount of defensive armor without collapsing under its own weight.
For the occupants sitting inside, the goal is total serenity. They are wrapped in this quiet, comfortable cabin, completely shielded from the chaos outside. But just millimeters away, right on the other side of that glass, the vehicle is prepared to face incredibly violent, explosive threats. It is a masterclass in duality. But you know, this level of sophisticated, factory-built protection actually has a pretty dark origin story. Volvo's heritage in protective transport is actually woven right into their DNA. They delivered their very first police car way back in 1929. By 1953, they were building the TP-21 Suga, which was this rugged military radio vehicle. And then, in 1998, they launched the S80 sedan, featuring factory-integrated armor straight off the assembly line. This near century of history set the stage for them to solve a very real, very dangerous problem in the security industry.
Section 1. The Aftermarket Armor Problem.
See, for decades, if you are a VIP, a state official, or a high-net-worth individual who needed an armored car, you had to hand a standard vehicle over to a third-party aftermarket armorer. And the problem with that aftermarket approach, it is essentially a dangerous hack. These companies would strip a car and weld heavy steel plates to a frame that was never, ever designed to carry that kind of massive static load. It ruins the suspension, it misaligns the body panels, it creates hidden structural weak points, and worst of all, it can completely blind the vehicle's active safety sensors and crash systems. Volvo realized that to do this right, the armor absolutely could not be an afterthought. It had to be integrated at the factory level, maintaining the vehicle's structural integrity from day one.
And their secret weapon? Boron steel. In standard Volvo vehicles built on their modern platform, hot-formed boron steel makes up to 40% of the body weight. It acts as this continuous, ultra-rigid safety cage wrapping right around the cabin. So when Volvo decided to build a heavy armored vehicle, they didn't have to invent a completely new frame. They already possessed a pre-existing, ultra-high-strength anchor that was totally capable of carrying massive armor without buckling. This is absolutely crucial during a kinetic attack, say a ballistic impact or an improvised explosive device detonating right next to the car. In those terrifying moments, that boron steel cage acts as a load redistribution network. Instead of the side of the vehicle simply caving in, the extreme forces of the blast are channeled and spread out across the entire rigid structure of the cabin. It prevents localized structural collapse and preserves the survival space for the people inside. It is, quite literally, the difference between life and death.
Section 2. Forging the VR8 Fortress.
To really grasp what the term VR8 means, we have to look at the terrifying reality of escalating threats. The VPAM standard breaks it all down. VR5 stops standard handguns. VR6 steps it up to handle AK-47 fire and a 12.5 kilogram TNT blast. But the VR8? That is elite-level protection. It is certified to withstand armor-piercing military rifles and a massive 15-kilogram TNT side blast. Building a vehicle that can actually survive this requires a completely radical manufacturing process.
It's a meticulous, high-tech assembly loop. The standard XC90 frame gets shipped out to Trasco Bremen in Germany, which is a legendary firm in the armoring world. They strip it all the way down to the bare metal. They map the entire thing with high-resolution 3D laser scanners, and then they weld custom-cut 10mm thick ballistic steel directly onto that boron safety cage we talked about. And finally, the glass goes in.
The sheer thickness of this transparent armor is mind-blowing. We are dealing with multi-ply ballistic glass that is up to 50 millimeters, so nearly 2 inches thick. But it's not just thick glass. It is alternating layers of glass and PVB bonded tightly together, backed by a critical inner layer of polycarbonate on the cabin side. Here's why that matters. When a bullet strikes the outside, the glass shatters to absorb all that kinetic energy. But the inner polycarbonate layer acts as a flexible shield, preventing deadly glass fragments, which is known as spall, from shooting into the faces of the passengers. Now, adding 1,400 kilograms of steel and glass means the car's standard components would literally be destroyed within a few miles of driving. So Volvo has to completely re-engineer the stopping power with heavily reinforced brakes and a heavily uprated suspension. Even more miraculously, they recalibrate all of the vehicle's active safety cameras and radars, features like lane keep assist and automatic emergency braking, so they can see flawlessly through 2 inches of distorted ballistic glass. The end result is a vehicle that survives 300 ballistic test shots, yet still retains full EU road certification for its dynamic driving.
Section 3. Urban security and the light armored solution. Because let's face it, not everyone is dealing with armor-piercing rifles.
When we scale back to the realities of modern urban environments, the primary threat shifts to handgun fire from opportunist street crimes or carjackings. In these scenarios, that heavy steel is actually replaced with lightweight, heat-resistant aramid fiber blankets, which is the exact same material used in bulletproof vests. That gets paired with much thinner 19mm laminated glass.
This kind of lightweight precision is achieved through a rigorous global partnership with Carbon Armor down in Brazil, a country that has vast experience in agile urban armored vehicles. By using these advanced materials, they only add about 250 to 320 kilograms to the vehicle, but they still put these cars through absolutely grueling tests. We're talking 11,000 door openings and rough terrain tracks just to ensure that the swift, luxurious driving dynamics of the Volvo remain completely uncompromised.
Ultimately, whether it is a heavy VR8 Fortress or a light-armored urban shield, the design philosophy remains exactly the same. For high-profile targets, true modern luxury is absolute discretion. The armor is integrated so seamlessly that the vehicle doesn't attract any unnecessary attention. It blends right into the daily flow of traffic, looking like just another family SUV out running errands.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating paradox to think about. We so often think of security as something highly visible, right? Armed guards, massive high walls, intimidating military convoys. But perhaps in a world full of visible threats, the ultimate defense, the highest possible form of luxury, is simply the ability to be invisible. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the world around you because what's on the surface rarely tells the whole story.